welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers and previewing and reviewing the latest shows from WWE, AEW, New Japan, and everything in between every Saturday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., alongside Kaliko Yachts.
So sad for the Padres, but I'm glad I got out of L.A.
How did I know that was going to be the first thing out of your mouth?
Because it rhymes, and, you know, Dr. Seuss is a San Diego native, so I have to... I'm kind of covering both bases.
I did not know that. The more you know.
What? He's got a whole house here in La Jolla.
Really?
Yeah, it's like it's a historical landmark.
Oh, I have to check that out now.
Motherfucker, you know.
You can't say we're not an educational podcast.
Don't disrespect the original doctor. Before Dr. Dre, it was Dr. Seuss.
That's such a weird comparison. Alright,
But those are the only two doctors I think people may know. Other than Dr. Phil and Dr. Oz.
Yeah? Then there's McSteamy, McDreamy, all the doctors.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, I got them all. I could bring up Dr. A, you know?
Yeah, we don't have time for that.
Hey.
It was a good week for Wrestling With as we interviewed Billy and Aki on Tuesday and Kuya Born on Wednesday. Two incredible interviews from different parts of the world. Cannot recommend them enough. Definitely go into our archives and check those out. This upcoming Tuesday we have Johnny McMetal on the show from Slam Wrestling Finland. He was one of the first pro wrestlers trained in Finland. We talk about that, his relationship with Starbuck, what he did then, what he's doing now, and his stint on Big Brother Finland. So definitely want to go check that out. And then on the 16th, Wednesday, we have backbreaker Dylan Broda. The protege, well not protege, but the stablemate of a friend of the show, Arthur. We talk about Arthur. We talk about the first death match in Finland history, what he's doing now, a little bit of refereeing, and owning a video game bar in Finland. So you definitely want to watch that as well. But don't take my word for it. Here's some clips now.
And then at one point we are outside the ring, and he comes with this plate full of burgers, and he starts like throwing them at me. Like, what the hell? That was I don't ever never want to do that again. I mean, the mayonnaise and everything was all over my hair, my eye sockets, my ears, it was everywhere, and it smelled so awful. You can just only imagine the heat of the summertime and the mayonnaise all over you. That's not a good combination at all.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just horrible, and yeah, I don't ever want to do that again.
You came across this while you were in Sweden. Can you tell us about the statue of piss?
This statue is actually in Helsinki, that I believe the one you're talking about, and okay. It's right at the harbor where the boat goes off to Sweden. And I have no clue who the artist is, but it's known as the ugliest statue in the world. And if you go, you can look in through my Instagram, find that promo where I took these boys over there to Sweden. Yeah, that statue is to me, represents your native Swede. So just go check it out.
Right, and then on the 22nd, we have Jake Lupa. On the 23rd, Rainey. On the 28th, we have Lord Philip Risen. On the 29th, Pixel. On the 30th, Anarch Kid Ass. On November 5th, Shamika. Right, I believe we're done putting ourselves over. No, Kalika?
We're never done putting ourselves over. Sorry, just had to say that.
Well, it was a good week for wrestling because we are wrestling with the news. Maybe putting himself way too over, Tony Khan is when it comes to Bryan Danielson. He did an interview earlier this week and revealed that his last match against Okada, he lost feeling in his legs while he was kicking Okada. Explained that he went to the trainer afterward. They worked on him. He is okay, but it did stem from the neck injury that that he's been dealing with, that he will eventually need surgery for. Obviously, later today he'll be wrestling Jon Moxley. One might say that's not the wisest choice in the world, but what are your thoughts on Bryan Danielson dealing with all these health issues when he really doesn't have to?
I mean, the Daniel Bryan in him, or the Bryan Danielson in him, is telling him to continue on, even though, me personally, honestly, Moxley's winning, right? I would think he would win tonight to get him that surgery sooner or later, because at the end of the day, his long-term health, once he leaves the ring, is more important than what he is right now.
Right.
My problem is that they gave him the title, and when they gave him the title knowing he had that lingering injury, it's not like that injury was something, you know what I mean? It's not like that was something like that just popped up.
Right.
It's been something that's been an issue, which makes me wonder their decision making, because you had the most natural one of the most over talents lose to someone, and now they're having leg injuries, and not leg injuries, but it's more of a nerve injury. And this is the part where, for some odd reason, WWE, as much as, and people are going to wonder why WWE got to do with this, they proved to seem themselves right in the long term when it comes to these people and injuries, because they're like, yeah, we're not gonna do all this shit on our watch. And you wonder why WWE take the precautions that they do, because I could think of several superstars that went over there with injuries, and now it's just proven WWE right. Daniel Bryan, Saraya, maybe Edge, but Edge is kind of like a freak-offish. But even then, you're just looking like, what is the disconnect between their health staff, and WWE's health staff?
No, I completely agree. Like, what doctor in the world is saying, if you're telling somebody that you have whatever ligaments that are, injured in his neck right now that require surgery, you're losing feeling in your legs. What doctor is clearing you to wrestle? Who's saying, yeah,
no shit,
yeah, you're fine, put some ice on it? That doesn't sound right?
Well, my problem is that doctors are going to have different perspectives on how to deal with the injury. That's a given.
Right.
But the general consensus of all of these medical professionals should be the overall long-term health of the individual. And that is where I'm trying to figure out, is that because it seems like AEW is having this thing where like WWE is telling these people like, yeah, you might not want to take that risk.
Right. And
for some odd reason, AEW is going like, oh yeah, that's fine. So that's where, to me, is the disconnect, because I'm thinking, and this is just me thinking, all medical records should be transparent between all doctors, right?
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense.
So that's the disconnect. That's the perspective I'm taking it from. Not so much more Tony Khan, more so what the hell each doctor is thinking, because I'm thinking all doctors talk.
Well, you can't really assume that all doctors talk. You know, for all we know, the doctor that they have in AEW is a back alley clinic doctor. You know, 50% survival chance.
True, but all doctors leave notes when they're doing procedures and they're doing things. So that's where, because even if that individual, so say, and I can only put myself in for me, my medical record, because I'm a veteran, when I go to a private doctor, all that flows through. So they see a history. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So when they're making their assessments, they have a history and context to make that decision from.
So, like, I get it. It's not a new phenomenon for wrestlers to work
hurt. Yeah, it's not a new phenomenon.
That's fine. You know, all wrestlers are. But, you know, when you're working injured, and some people do work injured, and, you know, there has to be a stopping point at some point. You know what I mean? Well, okay, do this match and then get this fucking surgery. You know what I mean? Like, for instance, Cody with that horrible tear he had in his.
The tear. He did the tear. He did the match and got the surgery. But the thing is WWE is, well, I mean, I'm assuming they're still publicly traded, so they have more of a reason to do that. Vice a Tony Khan, where he could probably be saying, "Hey, we already had this set for Wrestle Dream," rather than just because of the fact that they want to keep that story going. And Daniel Bryan is not going to stop himself.
Right.
And that's the biggest key.
You know, people will hate on WWE, but, you know, most of the times they do save these wrestlers from themselves because they don't have breaks when it comes to these things. You know, they have to automatically stop it. And, you know, just shame on Tony Khan. You know, obviously he sees the behind-the-scenes things that are going on with Bryan Danielson, and he's not putting his foot down. He's not saying, okay, this is getting dangerous. You can get severely hurt. You could be paralyzed. And let's look at it from a different perspective. You have to trust the person you're in the ring with. If Bryan Danielson isn't, you know, if he loses feeling when, you know, he's grabbing somebody, he could really hurt somebody as well, and he could paralyze them because he wanted to muscle through a match. I don't think that's necessarily right. You're putting two individuals at jeopardy for the sake of one. And I don't think that's right.
Totally true. Totally true. And to put it in perspective, when you think of, and when I think of a person who wrestled injured, it was for WWE, Seth Rollins. Do you know how much precaution that they went through to make sure that it couldn't go worse than what it already is for him to perform what he performed.
Oh yeah, and you're absolutely
So
right.
that and that's the dichotomy I'm looking at, because I'm looking at Seth, who wrestled 2 times in one night with a torn meniscus, but they literally took 2-3 months, even though he had the title. He
did.
and they literally went through it and was like, okay, let's make sure, okay, is it not going to get worse than what it is? Can we, when you get the surgery, how long it's going to take, and so on and so forth. So they went through all of the worst case scenarios before, to save him from himself, before they gave him the blessing, vice this. And that's, to me, is like, because I'm looking at it apples, that's an apples to apples comparison that no one can like dispute, right?
You could correct me if I'm wrong here, but between getting injured, which was the Jinder Mahal match in January, I think January 1st, to WrestleMania 41, Night 1, how many matches did Seth Rollins have?
None. Barely any.
And between WrestleMania 41 to now, he's only had one match with Damian Priest.
Right.
And you could really say that match really protected Rollins.
Like, yeah, because of the Drew cash-in, the CM Punk,
right.
And that's my point. They literally included him, and even though they knew he wasn't going to save himself from himself, and they kind of, I can say that they kind of pushed him into it, but they pushed him into it for the sake of a storyline. And when they did it, they had enough shit going on around him to where he didn't have to exert himself too much. And then by the time he got to SummerSlam, he's a special guest referee. So all this time, he only had, 3 matches in 9 months, in which he's just sitting there recovering. And by the time he's back now, he's good.
More or less, yeah. I think he's going to start a program with Bronson Reed.
Yeah, and then after Bronson Reed? Guess who? CM Punk. So it protected him. It kept him relevant in those months, even though he was injured, because they protected the injury and they looked at it from the long-term perspective. And that's what I'm trying to figure out why. And this is where I think they need people in there to tell these people no in AEW.
Right. And unfortunately, Tony Khan isn't going to be that person. So it doesn't seem like it is going to happen. But I just pray that he has he has enough sense in his head to say, let's have a safe match at Wrestle Dream, and God willing,
nope. It's in his hometown. He is not. It's in his home state. He is not fucking. If this is his last match, you think he's not gonna go balls to the wall?
I know and that's right, that's what pisses me off.
Yeah, that's my point. If this is if this is truly the last match for Daniel Bryan this year, and it is in his hometown, and he's walking in as champion, he's leaving with a bang.
Well, God willing, he doesn't leave on a stretcher. And
that's the key. That is the key.
Hopefully, he'll get that fucking surgery after this match.
I mean, I hope he just gets the surgery just for his health, not. I mean, because he's always been candid in interviews about like having aches and pains while playing with his kid, and it's like, dude, you gotta. As much as we love you, and this is just me being the wrestling guy in me, the wrestling fan in me, dude, I would love to see you wrestle, but I also would love to see you live, because we lost a lot of talent this year.
Oh yeah.
And to me, that means more important to me to have you live to tell the story than trying to prove a point that you still got it.
Agreed, and I wasn't coming from a perspective of get the surgery so you could wrestle again. I was coming from the perspective of exactly that. You need to live. You know, you're putting your health in major jeopardy here.
Exactly.
So hopefully
Yeah.
he will, and he'll prove us all wrong. So yeah, I think that will be enough on this topic for a moment. Um, Keeping up
And
with like really bad news. Um, Kill Switch, Luchasaurus, whatever you want to call him. Um, he's on the shelf. For a good portion of time. He was hospitalized a couple weeks ago. With pneumonia in both lungs. And apparently it caused permanent damage to him. And he's going to be out for quite some time, and possibly ever. This could be from what I'm hearing. This could be a potentially career-ending problem for him.
mm-hmm.
What?
I mean,
Yeah. Continue.
this is another part, man. It's just, dude. It from what I've seen, it deals with like a immune issue with sleep apnea, and sleep apnea is not a joke. And considering it's kind of crazy to me, like that becomes an issue for a wrestler who, for the most part, AEW, let's be honest, it's just a television show. They're not really doing road shows. It's not like they're going around doing house shows every week.
True.
So to me, this is mind-boggling. I just hope he gets better. Sleep apnea is something that, it's hard to deal with. And if he's having pneumonia with it, it literally can be deadly, because pneumonia is basically fluid in your lungs, and sleep apnea, you're practically like not getting enough oxygen to sleep. So it's a double whammy, and I just hope he gets just take your time, dude. Get better.
I agree. Hopefully he has a full recovery. If we do see him back in the ring, that would be great. Out of all the wrestlers and AEW in general that I dislike, Luchasaurus was never really one of them. I always felt like he was a solid wrestler. From what I hear, he's a good guy. So if this is the last we've heard of him, then that really sucks. But your health first for sure. But if he can make a recovery, that would be great as well. A return to the ring, that is. But it does look like he has a long journey ahead of him. Obviously, not injury-related health issues, so we can't necessarily blame Tony Khan for this.
That is true. And to put this in perspective, that dude is 1 year younger than me.
I didn't know he was that old.
Most wrestlers, if they've been with the exception of certain talent like Private Party, who finally came out from the milk carton, but most of them, you hit your peak in your 40s as a wrestler, because you know how to work smart instead of working hard.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, for some apparent reason, Dynamite was on a Tuesday this last week, and it went head to head with NXT, and NXT whooped that trick.
Yeet.
NXT
had to put it in there.
NXT did a 0.24, while AEW did a 0.10. So a large margin. Just interesting that this is basically NXT's skeleton crew at this point, and they did so much better than AEW when they have all these stars.
Well, I read somewhere that NXT did better than all three of AEW shows combined.
Oh wow! I did not see that.
As far as like ratings and the demo, which I'm like, holy shit. Granted, NXT had Jey Uso, Randy Orton, Belair, Cargill. You know what I'm saying? They pretty much brought guns out for the show. But that doesn't change the fact that, I mean, there's a certain formula in order to do it. And for better or for worse, WWE's formulas works. I mean, I'll tell you this, the sexy red Ethan Page thing was fucking huge in Twitterland, because Ethan Page is seen as a national hero at this point.
What happened between Sexy Red and Ethan Page?
Oh, well, NXT, they had Sexy Red perform, and Ethan Page interrupted the performance and told her that her ish is canceled. Her performance was canceled. And he proceeded to continue by, like, mocking Sexy Red on Twitter, in which he turned himself from a heel to a national hero because... Yeah, I mean, he's my hero. I never really was a Sexy Red guy, but yeah, he I mean, I'm just saying that alone and that engagement is huge. You know what I mean? It's for better or for worse, WWE knows how to pull it. And I guess it's not, I'm trying to figure out why AEW gets hip hop stars and stuff like that. So what is the disconnect between those two?
It's just like wrestling's never really been about the wrestling. It's about the stories, and you tell that story in the ring. But if you don't have that story to tell in the ring and you just do matches, then what is really the point? And that's kind of been AEW's MO. They just give you matches. But it's just, I find it so interesting that this is not the best version of NXT we've ever had. And not only did they beat AEW, but it was by a large margin as well. But then again, I guess they didn't, back then they didn't have Nikita Lyons and Titties be accompanied by Cora Jade.
I mean, that and Julia and Stephanie Vacour and
Yep.
Kalani Jordan. I'm just gonna tell you right now, Shawn Michaels might be the MVP of NXT because he out here signing dimes to them. Boy, woo, woo.
Yeah.
He knows how to find them chicks, boy. I'm like, God damn.
NXT, we have the cake.
I mean, they got more than cakes. Cakes, flapjacks. I mean, whatever you want. They got like like the Jack in the Box. They're the Jack in the Box of the women's division. Whatever you want, they got.
A wide variety of everything you love.
Yep. Sexy Latinas, we got you. Blacks, yeah, we got it. Whites, oh hell yeah, we got it. Yeah, I mean, they got it all.
Um, and obviously, people are going to make excuses that AEW wasn't on, on their usual day, their usual time, so that played a factor. Um, and it quite possibly could, but how much of a difference could it have made? You know what I mean?
It not that big of a deal, because if when AEW was beating NXT, it wasn't like they were going, oh yeah, it's just developmental. You can't have it both ways. You can't say in one breath, oh yeah, AEW so better, and then go, oh, they're only going out because they got all these stars. Like,
Yeah.
you can't pull, you know what I'm saying? You can't pull both sides of your ass on that one.
Well, speaking of both sides of the ass, at Bad Blood earlier this week, it was announced that the next Crown Jewel event will feature the first ever Crown Jewel Saudi Arabia champion, which will feature Cody Rhodes versus Gunter for the Crown Jewel Championship, and what is her name? Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax. For on the women's side, Cody Rhodes and Gunter, the world champions of each of their brands, and Liv and Nia as well. Um, I, I'm not quite sure how to feel about it. It kind of makes sense, but it also kind of doesn't make sense. It kind of seems like they're not treating the Saudi Arabia shows as a part of the WWE a continued storyline. It's kind of back to, okay, well, we're doing these live events in Saudi Arabia. Did you get that feeling, or what was your thoughts on it?
To be quite honest, ever since they've been in Saudi Arabia, it's never been a continuation of the storyline. When has there ever been a show in Saudi Arabia where it continued on to the States? Which, honestly, it kind of serves as an advantage, and the only reason I say it serves as an advantage because it gives that reprieve for those storylines when they pick back up.
I mean, for the last couple of years, like Crown Jewel was an established paid preview that they did in Saudi Arabia. Um, they were there some wonky matchups, yeah, but I mean, Edge and Seth Rollins had a Hell in a Cell in Saudi Arabia, which was a continuation of their SummerSlam match. Um, they and Elimination Chamber was their last year, I want to say. So I mean, there has been continuity with their storylines there, but it seems like
Continuity.
continuity. Thank you. But I don't think that I think they're pulling away from that and just kind of treating it like a special live event.
It is. Honestly, it is a special. It's just a Saudi Arabia WrestleMania. Let's go there and get because keep in mind, Saudi Arabia was out there asking for Andre the Giant and Yokozuna. Come on, man. Like,
Yep.
let's keep it a stack. Like,
What do you think about
so
this?
it's not. It's not like they sit up there keeping up with what's going on in the climate.
True. What do you think about this new title that they made?
I think it's just personally, it seems like it's a little. It screams just one-time title, unless it's just a universal Saudi Arabia championship to wrestle for to keep titles with storylines, right?
Yeah.
because the only reason I see Gunther Cody going because it's a callback to the Rumble, but Liv and Nia are literally two heels fighting for the title.
Yeah. But, and we'll get into this another time, but I think having Liv and Nia wrestle is actually the perfect catalyst to start the Tiffany Stratton Nia Jax rivalry, because Nia was saying, you know, when once I destroy Liv, you could cash in and win the championship against Liv. I don't think that's gonna happen. I think that Tiffy's gonna cash in on Nia, and they'll jumpstart that rivalry. That's the only thing I could really see coming out of a Nia Jax Liv Morgan rivalry at this point.
Yeah, the continuation of their storyline. I could also kind of see Rhea fucking it up for everybody.
Hmm. I mean,
And I see Bailey going with, I mean, the whole Naomi don't trust Bailey type deal. I see that at angle, but yeah, you're right. The main star of the show is the Tiffy Nia Jax line.
the other opposite end of that spectrum, I don't really see where it serves Gunter wrestling Cody, and I don't see where it serves Cody wrestling Gunter at this point. It's really only, a pause of what's going on in the current storylines.
Depends on what Kevin does.
Um, yeah, I get that, but it doesn't give Kevin a title match. He's not wrestling.
It doesn't get
I mean, it doesn't need
it.
to be that, but it has nothing to do with him. What's going on?
True, but I also see. Remember what I was telling you about the whole Kevin thing? It wasn't about. It's all about perspective.
Right.
And Kevin has a history of being that petty.
It's hilarious. Like we were just having this conversation like a month ago, where they had the match in Germany, and I was like, I like bad guy Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens is a better bad guy, and finally they pulled the trigger on it.
Well, it was pulled in the right manner, and it was pulled in and it was pulled in a perspective. And I keep telling people this: the new formula for WWE is not about good guy, bad guy. It's about perspectives.
Right.
Because I can 100% see Kevin Owens' perspective on this shit.
Yeah.
Because if you did all this shit for your friend and you see him team with the motherfucker, it's almost like you helping the motherfucker get a promotion, and then he goes back and help the motherfucker that you helped him beat to get the promotion instead of you. Like, bitch, I'd be mad too. So I get it. So that's what I'm telling you. These stories, and that's where I like Triple H's formula with this, because everything is just, it's not about a good or bad, because to be quite honest, there's a good and bad in all of us. It's just a matter of which side you see it on that day.
Speaking of good and bad, it was teased at Bad Blood. And just for everybody to know, we are doing a full review of the show in a couple minutes. We're just getting to.
Oh hell yeah, that show was fucking yeah.
We'll get to it, but we're just talking about the rumors that kind of came out of it, and some things that happen in between as well. It is heavily rumored now that Gunter will be wrestling Goldberg at some point down the road. Possibly WrestleMania. I can understand where that's a big match for Goldberg, but does it really solve Gunter any purpose losing to Goldberg in 45 seconds?
Gunther's not losing to Goldberg. I think WrestleMania would be better served Gunther Brock.
I mean,
And that's a pipe, and that is a hell of a pipe dream, because we know with Brock.
Right.
So I mean,
we were originally going to get Brock and Gunter, but obviously things prevented that from happening.
yeah, owner defecating on bitches, but that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
We'll see. Until it's written in stone, it's a rumor. I'll leave it at that, because I'm gonna give them the fact that until it's written in stone, the only match that I know for damn sure the only match that I know for sure is gonna go down is Punk's Rollins. I know that for 100% of a fact that match is gonna happen.
Kind of a makeup from last year.
Because the way it's being sprinkled in.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, Rollins leaves. Rollins gets taken out by Bronson as he was about to fight Punk, and then Punk just got done with Drew. But now he's going on a little injury reprieve, and Rollins is like, "Fuck you, I'm back." So that I know for without a doubt in my mind that's happening at Mania. And whoever else John Cena is going to wrestle, which maybe is Orton, who knows. But end of the era part 35. But yeah, I'll hold on the Gunther Goldberg thing. I think it was just probably an ATL thing, because for those who may not know, those wrestlers, Goldberg not only played for the Georgia Bulldogs, he was also an Atlanta Falcon. You can't get more Georgia than that. So that's why I think they were just kind of giving him his due there. But yeah, until it's in stone, I don't see it happening.
Well, we're talking. You brought up, allegations, things of that nature. Did you happen to catch the McMahon documentary?
No, because I was catching up on the CM Punk shit. Had to catch up on that ATL fucking show. Like, man.
Fair enough. But it was, maybe this is interesting, maybe it isn't, but, Janelle Grant, back in the news, her representation is asking for WWE, to drop all of the NDAs that are in that were made in WWE. So supposedly the other victims of Vince McMahon could come forward without facing repercussion. WWE has not responded to those wishes by Janelle Grant. I do feel that it's kind of like opening a can of worms, because even though there's probably some NDAs that are about Vince McMahon and that, but I'm sure that there are other NDAs not concerning that they don't want in the public disclosure. You know what I mean?
Well, the NDA is only. Here's the thing: they can't. I see why they're saying they want it unreleased, but and I'm not a lawyer, but I can only assume if they accepted the terms and the deals and accepted the money with the NDAs, then the NDA has to be enforced.
Okay. Well, no, what I was saying, because there are NDAs within WWE, the company, and that they should drop the NDAs to allow the victims to come forward if there are any.
But here's and this is where I need some legalese on this, because if that's the case, then what's to keep the company from going, give me my money back? Because that was the whole point of the NDA.
True. I mean, yeah.
It's sticky. It's sticky. It is sticky.
For more reasons than one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. We're probably not the best show to cover this because you're not a lawyer, I'm not a lawyer. I don't think you've been
I know.
sued.
I know some lawyers. I can ask.
Okay, well, maybe, yeah.
Wrestling with Law and Order. Dear.
Produced by Dick Wolf.
You know what I'm saying? Get some Dick Wolf in this bitch.
Maybe a legal problem, maybe not. Definitely not. During the press conference for WWE Bad Blood, Triple H did speak to the press.
Catch some hell. Cause some hell.
And it was somebody asked him that there has not been a black superstar on a PLE in 3 months, and there were no black representation on Bad Blood. I'll let you just go first.
Okay. I will start by saying this. Yes, did it seem to come off a bit tone deaf? Yeah, it could have. I also understood where he was trying to come from, in the sense that he's trying to go with what's the hottest storyline and what is trying to get things to get pushed further. And you do see why he did that thing on NXT to prove a point, right?
Right.
The Kalani, Trick Williams, Cargill, Bianca, Jay championship moment. That was to prove a point. To me, I get where Triple H is trying to come from. I just wish he had said his words better. Because when people say, because when you hear the term "I don't see color," it's almost in the sense that it's like Brandy Rhodes when she said "I don't see color." It's like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, what do you do when people say "I don't see color"? I'm like, man, what do you do at a red light? Because you stop. Not because it means stop. You stop because the color red indicates for you to stop, right?
Okay.
So I get the people's being pissed about the tone deafness of Triple H, right? And it doesn't help in regards to his history, mainly one with Booker T for WrestleMania 19. So I get where it's placating to a lot of that. I totally understand that. With that being said, yes, he could have had more prominent storylines in the sense of having black wrestlers be represented and being included in some of these hot storylines. However, that's not how always it goes, man. Like, I can say, how many times have he tried with that LWO fucking Rey Mysterio line and nobody's buying it? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He's been dragging that to death it felt like it was like ad nauseum. And I'm not saying that to say like this to be his saving grace, but to say that he doesn't have storylines where it includes people of color or Latin communities is kind of asinine, because we all know that the Jade Cargill Bianca thing is gonna happen. It's just a matter of,
Right.
are you really wanting it to happen right now, or do you really want it to happen at WrestleMania? More than likely, you're wanting it to happen at WrestleMania. So in order for that to happen at WrestleMania, you have to put it on the back burner until Royal Rumble. I mean,
Right.
to be quite honest. And then technically, you know, the whole Cody Rhodes, he's technically black anyway.
Great.
Hotep Cody getting HBCUs and shit to come on the but okay, let me stop. But in all seriousness, I get people's concern over the tone deafness, and he should have been more cognizant of that. And I think he did that whole thing on NXT on purpose to show that he could have been more cognitive of that, because otherwise, why would you go out of your way to put that many champions in one stage and have like a mini curtain call? But yeah, I think he's just cooking with what storylines are going hot right now and figuring out what's going to happen at Mania. I mean,
So, yeah, continue.
I mean, because here's my thing when I say, and it's going to sound crazy, but other than Bianca and Jade, and people swearing that the Profits need to break up, what other storyline are you going to put in with African American artists or wrestlers? I mean, they could have put the triple threat that happened on SmackDown on a PLE.
Right, and that's kind of where, first and foremost, WWE has definitely cut back when it comes to their their PLEs. You know, we only get 5 matches per PLE. So, like, your story really has to be important to be on that PLE. You know, the ones, so if we got 6 to 7 matches, then there would be no doubt that you would see the Street Profits, a Carmelo Hayes, maybe even New Day on those shows. But because they're keeping these shows so tight, and they just want to tell that story long form rather than short form like you get on Raw or SmackDown, that's kind of where you're missing, you know, those wrestlers, because there would have definitely been a spot for any of them at this time, by this time, I would say.
I mean, I think so. Like, prime example, like the number one storyline that's involving anyone of African American is basically the New Day, and it's trickling through Raw. So the thing is this: do you see that as a PLE storyline?
I really wouldn't say that it's a PLE storyline unless Big E comes back and, you know, squashes everything. Then no, I say that it's just a Raw storyline. I mean, it
Right.
could have been a PLE storyline maybe a couple of years ago when they did more, you know, PLEs, but more matches on PLEs. But nowadays, no, I don't see it fitting.
Right. So that's the point that I'm trying to emphasize. It's like, we've always known that this format was going to be the format for NXT, like 5 matches, and the most important storylines go on, and then you let every other story play out through TV, Raw and SmackDown. Because if that's the case, then everybody should just be pissed that the Wyatt Six ain't on no PLEs.
True. Um, when it comes to diversity with on the women's side, I don't see
It's there.
it's there.
It
We,
is there.
we
It's there.
you got Bianca, you got Jade, and I mean you could say Jade isn't there yet, which she isn't, but you know that she is eventually. They're building
Bianca,
her.
Jade, Kalani,
No, Naomi,
uh, Naomi, Naya,
but
Bailey.
on the men's side of things, we lost. They lost their biggest black wrestler. They lost Bobby
Bobby
Lashley.
Lashley.
Yeah, there is no more Big E. I mean, it's not to say that he won't come back, but we don't have Big E. And, so there aren't. I mean, I like Carmelo, but he's not there yet when it comes to being a major star. And, I mean, who else is there? And obviously, the New Day's established. There's no issues there. Um, so like on the men's side, other than Carmelo, who are you necessarily going to push into that role? You know what I mean?
And that's the point I'm making, because Melo is not there yet. The Prophets are a great tag team, but I know that they're keeping the tag titles on the Bloodline to keep the Bloodline in in that in that sequence, right?
And they're not
Uh,
really showcasing tag teams on PLEs at this time.
oh hell no, Jesus Christ no.
Like that ladder match on SmackDown, that would have been a sixth match on a PLE maybe 5 years ago.
Yep.
Not anymore.
And I get why they're doing it, because the thing is this: not every story needs to be concluded at once, and this is the formula that I like,
Right.
because everybody is so used to everything getting done now,
Right.
rather than every story should be done immediately, and that's not the case. Some stories are going to conclude, and it's very staggered, and the only reason and to me, I think it truly works, because I can only look at it from one storyline that's been ran through for an entire year, and it's had staggered layers, and it's still spawning off different rivalries. And I mean, you could think of two storylines with that, and that's the CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, Seth part, the Cody Roman part.
Yeah.
Seth and Punk. Punk came back. Seth and Drew didn't like it. Drew injures Punk. Punk and Rollins still going at it. All three of them are entangled. Somehow Bronson Reed comes in, staggers it, makes it a stagger thing, so where Punk and Drew could finish it. And now Punk and Drew is finished, but now Seth and Bronson got to finish. So when Seth and Bronson's finished, Punk and Seth can get it. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's and that's the one thing I love about wrestling now, is that it is such a butterfly effect, how one person's action affects everything else around him. And that is the true hallmark of wrestling. Like Cody's decision to side with Roman, even though he's been fucking trying to get rid of him for the better year, is costing him a friendship that he built within a year with Kevin Owens. Do you see? Like,
Yeah.
that is the stuff that is like, that matters to me. I mean, to me as a wrestling fan, I've never been more intrigued in wrestling than now, because everything is just connecting.
Oh yeah.
It's all connecting. It's all connecting.
So I definitely, could they have, when it comes to diversity in WWE, could they have more black stars? Yeah, clearly they lost. They don't have Big E. They don't have Bobby Lashley. They tried to get Trick. No, not Trick. Swerve. They tried to get Swerve. Swerve stayed with the company, with AEW.
And even then, they tried to get Swerve with Hit Row, and he just so happened to get cut. Like,
yeah. So, and you know, if you watch NXT, I mean, you could literally put the tagline for the culture, and nobody would bat an eye at that when it comes to NXT. Um, you know, uh, Saba Odi just lost not the international, the North American Championship. Maybe he comes up and he races somehow, because I don't think you could really bat an eye at that guy and say, put,
he ain't it.
yeah,
That dude is it.
yeah.
That dude, he's next.
And I think, it's just a matter of telling that story, but I think that you could bring him, you could, no, yeah, you could put him on SmackDown tomorrow, Saba Odi. You could put him against Cody Rhodes. He could beat Cody Rhodes, and I don't think anybody would bat an eye about that. Not for a championship, just beat Cody Rhodes. And then you have a megastar made in a minute because they pushed them. But,
Yep.
if they do that, who knows? Probably not.
I think Obafemi is gonna be the next on deck. I think they're slating him to take up where Lashley left off, because he has the size, he has
Forget Lashley. Brock Lesnar.
yeah, he's gonna be he might be on that.
Brock Lesnar.
Oh yeah, he could be the next Brock easily. So my thing is this: just because it's not happening now doesn't mean that it's not gonna happen.
Right.
And I think we get caught up in this whole thing. Well, what's the point if it's not going to happen now? It's never going to happen. And it's like, yeah, it's not their time now, but that doesn't mean it'll never be their time.
Yeah, just give it a minute.
Because, I mean, there is not a lack of error. They put Javion Evans against goddamn Randy Orton, for crying out loud. So they're trying to find the next crop of stars.
Oh, yeah. Alright, I think that should conclude our coverage of the news. And now a quick word from our sponsors. So,
Rogue Energy, the only gaming drink company in the world with 4 unique product lines to suit your task at hand, whether it be juices, shakes, smoothies, and everything else in between. Their low-calorie, no-sugar energy formula is the perfect alternative to sugar-filled canned energy drinks and sodas. Their extreme formula provides the most energy, focus, and sports performance possible. Their hydration line offers focus, ingredients without the added caffeine. Drink it anytime you're thirsty. And their shake formula is so delicious. Who doesn't love a cookies and cream, 0-calorie energy milkshake? First and foremost, they've designed every Rogue product line with performance and effectiveness in mind. It is critical that you look at the nutrition panels of drinks when comparing options. There are countless off brands out there that are presenting low quality, poorly dosed formulas that amount to expensive caffeine water. Every formula they produce is designed with optimal levels of high quality ingredients. Additionally, you won't find a powdered gaming drink brand that dissolves better. No need to have chalky textures in your drink. Their taste profiles are unmatched, specifically designed for gamers, athletes, students, entrepreneurs, people with hectic schedules, individuals with low energy, podcasters who can't shut up, people who are health conscious, and so much more. Great as both a pre-workout and as a coffee energy drink replacement. Specifically designed every Rogue product line to be the best gaming drink on the planet. Rogue Energy, more focus, more wins.
use promo code WrestlingWithE for 10% off your next purchase. And we are wrestling with WWE Bad Blood. It was last Saturday. It took place in Atlanta, Georgia, at the State Farm Arena. Attendance was 16,000. Attendance was 16,902. A complete sellout. I mean, that's a large number for, not a big four paid preview, PLE.
Because it's back in Atlanta, and Atlanta. The thing is like everyone, like I keep telling people, man, they keep going up, they keep over skipping that southeastern region, other than like Florida, but between Atlanta and Memphis, Little Rock, Charlotte, those are hotbeds for wrestling fans, and especially black wrestling fans. Like, dude, I'm from that region. That's all we grew up on. We still do wrestling moves and shit like that to this day because of that shit. I mean, it's not to be underestimated. And this was the first time them being back in a while. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Shit, they showed they ass in that show.
You know, I personally thought that this was a great show. I mean, for a Big Four paid preview, this was like, like a Big Four, performance. What I was surprised to see was that there was a lot of mixed reviews about this show.
Really?
Yeah. People were kind of mixed about it. Everybody agreed CM Punk and Drew was fantastic, but everything else they were kind of iffy on. Which I was like, what more did you want?
But that also kind of shows how fickle we are. We some fickle motherfuckers. But yeah, that show was. I mean, that was basically. Remember when I said Bash in Berlin was like a B show?
Yeah.
And they were just trying to get through it so they could get to the certain things that they needed to get to for Survivor Series.
Right.
This was the show to get everything that they needed to get done to set up Survivor Series. Like, what the fuck more did you want?
I mean, I agree. I couldn't agree more. I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a fucking great show.
Before we get into the matches, you got your Meltzer ratings?
Oh yes, because it is another edition of Guess That Rating.
Yay.
Of course, I am your host, leader of the Squash Quad, Kaliko Yachts, along with my host, James J. See, I had to reverse it for you, you know.
I dig it.
I tried.
Yeah,
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried. I tried. But now, all right, I got the ratings up.
Let's get into it.
Let's get into it.
CM Punk defeated Drew McIntyre in a Hell in a Cell match in 31 minutes and 25 seconds. Yeah, this, if I'm being honest, this took me back to maybe like 2003, 2004 WWE. Like, this was just like straight up violent in the best way possible. When you have, a blood feud as bad as McIntyre and Punk has had, this is how you expect it to end, with blood spilled. And boy, was there a lot of blood spilled in this match.
Oh my God, I'm surprised he didn't pass out like that.
From what I'm hearing, McIntyre actually did get busted open the hard way.
Oh yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he did. What the fuck he did?
16 staples to close his head. But he is okay. He's not severely injured after that. Punk's okay as well, as far as I know. Nobody got hepatitis. Nobody got AIDS. There was nothing cringe. It was just two guys beating the hell out of each other, and it was good to watch. It was a good way to end a blood feud that they had, which is what Hell in a Cell is supposed to do. It's the whole point of the concept of Hell in a Cell. What say you, Kaliko?
AEW, take notes. This is how you end a feud. And this is how you actually use violence, like not to be violent just for violence sake. And that to me is what made this a thing. Honestly, when this match ended, I was like, damn, that should have been the main event. Dead ass, I was like, ain't nobody following that shit. Like,
unfortunately, we know why that got changed, but we'll get there when we get there.
we know why, but that doesn't change the fact that was like, when that ended, I was like, yeah, that should have been the main event.
Oh yeah.
Because everything in it screamed like violence. And the part that got me was that when McIntyre got the bag, and I thought it was thumbtacks.
Yeah.
I was like, oh hell no, we about to go. I mean, all of it. Like, he ripped the table handle. I've never seen a one get whooped with a table handle. Like, I'm just like, dude, that match was one of the better Hell in a Cell matches that was not title related.
Yeah, I would say so. I never really felt like the title should be in Hell in a Cell to begin with. You know, I can understand a rivalry for a title being so personal that it needs to end, but that's in Hell in a Cell. But the title never necessarily needed to be a part of Hell in a Cell.
While that is the case, I mean, this was violence, but you got why they were violent, and you understood why. It wasn't just to do it. And that was the biggest key of it all to me. It was just like, okay, now we know how to actually run a match without, all the cringiness of it.
Right.
Because it got cringe, but not too cringe.
The only a cringe part for me was when McIntyre went for the Claymore, and he fell on the stairs, and his back hit like the edge of the steps.
Oh yeah, the back. Oh my god, I thought he was paralyzed.
Yeah, that was scary. That was definitely a scary moment in the match, but luckily nothing happened, and I think he just undershot the boot. I don't think he intentionally went to hit his back in there. I think he was going for it to be, flat on the steps, but mistakes happened.
Yeah, it just happened. He just happened to catch that end, and yeah. But hot damn, but that's the way you end a fucking feud. I can't get no better than that.
How many stars do you give this one?
That was 5, just on the violence. the proper. I put it this way: a 5 on the properly told story of violence. And everything that they did, because every piece of violence that they input in the match served a purpose.
Yes.
And that is the point of it all. Not to get the shock for the shock's sake, but to understand why they went there. Like when Punk hit him in the fucking head with the toolkit, it made fucking sense, because he's like, that's literally the last thing he had. That was his last resort at that time.
Right.
But yeah, 5, easy 5.
I give it 5 as well. It was what a Hell in a Cell match should be, and you can't ask for more than that. All right, Uncle Dave. Um, David, Uncle Dave's a bitch, so I'll say he gave it 3.5.
Nope.
3.
No.
4?
No.
What do you give it?
5.
Really?
Really?
Okay.
I said the same thing. I was like, what the fuck?
I did not expect that.
I was like, wait, what? He gave it a what?
Okay. Wow. Dave defying us. Alright, I see you, Uncle Dave.
Dave said, I heard you talking shit. It's like, I heard you motherfuckers talking shit.
Alright. Singles match for the WWE Women's Championship. Nia Jax defeated Bayley in 14 minutes and 10 seconds. Not the better matches on this card. Yeah, they had a little bit more time than they did at SummerSlam, I believe. But there were mistakes. There were some botches, and they were climbing an uphill battle from the very beginning, having to follow the cell match. So
Yes.
everything was kind of used against them at this point. The only thing that I could say like positive about this match was the ending when Tiffy, got hit and handed the briefcase to the referee, and it looked like she was cashing in, which was just good storytelling. But other than that, it wasn't a positive. I didn't have a positive outlook on this match, my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I thought that the best part was the ending, and they became a victim of a match that literally was setting the tone. I ain't even gonna lie to you. If that match was not following that Hell in a Cell match, it might have been a little higher. But following that, you're like, ooh. You know what I'm saying? That was the problem. Like, and I think that was just me the whole night. Because as much as I liked the show and I thought the show was fantastic, I just could not stop. Like, I could not stop thinking, holy shit, they're having to follow that?
Like, if only you started the show at Nia Jackson barely watched Drew, Cody, and Roman, and then watched the Punk and Drew match at the very end. That would have been the perfect way to actually watch the show.
Oh yeah. Kind of like how Star Wars, you got to start from a certain. Yeah. Definitely,
Yeah.
most definitely.
How many stars you give this one?
I love Bayley and I love Nia, but this was not it. 2 because of the story, but that's all you got, dog.
I give it 2.5. It was a 2-star match. The story kind of gave it that extra bump.
All right. Let's time to see. Guess that rating.
Meltzer gave it 2.25.
Nope.
1.25.
Nope.
2.
Nope.
Okay, what do you give it?
1 3/4, which I'm like, this 3/4 shit.
I was close with the 1.25. I was close.
1.25 don't count, sir. You gotta be on it. We're not rounding it off. This ain't math where you round it to the nearest tenth, sir.
Okay. I see you. I see what you're doing here. I Damian Priest defeated Finn Balor in 12 minutes and 45 seconds. Pretty good match. Solid hand from both guys. Told a good story. Um, my opinion is Finn Balor should have probably won, but when's the last time Finn Balor won a match? I could also say as well. So
Tag titles, hello.
that was like over 100 days ago. Or have you not seen the memes at
Hey.
this point?
Hey, sir, it counts.
But yeah, just knowing WWE logic, it made all sense. So I didn't really have a problem with it. What say you?
Yeah, we both agreed that Finn would win. So it just, it threw everything out. It told the story, but my thing is this now is because it seems like with Priest getting the win, it seems like it's over. And what did I tell you? What did I tell you on this preview?
Elaborate.
I told you when we did this preview that Priest and Ripley could not win at the same time. One is going to win and the other is going to lose.
Yes, you did say that.
What? I told you. Told you, sir.
Yeah. Well, technically, if you're looking at the record books, Rhea did win her match.
She didn't get the title, and that's what matters. That's what people care.
Well, I mean,
Which was the most botched thing ever.
Oh yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But
yeah, don't play me.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with Priest and Balor. Well, how many stars you give it?
I gave it it's a solid 3.5. It told the story. I thought it would have been more shenanigans for Finn, because it seemed like Finn took this shit way more personal. So therefore, I thought he would have won because he took it more personal.
I mean, it would have made sense for Finn to win, but again, when's the last time Finn's won a match? A singles match.
I get it. I get people's thing with Finn winning singles matches, but
I mean, last summer he had like 3 title matches against Seth Rollins, and he lost literally every one of them. And he didn't really win a match in between to say, well, that's why I'm getting this title match again.
While that is true, it's I also think Finn was a little bit more on the petty side of trying to get to where he is now, where he was trying to get rid of fat.
Yeah.
Because to me, he's been more involved with telling everybody why the fuck he kicked them out than actually winning the match, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I give it I agree. 3.5 is a very fair assessment of this match. No problems on my part. Alright, Women's World Championship
Nope.
match.
Guess that rating, sir.
Oh, yes. Guess that rating. Okay. Three doors.
Nope.
He definitely didn't give this a 4-star. 3.5?
Nope.
3.
3.25.
3.25. Okay.
3.
Alright, that's fair. Uncle Dave is being somewhat fair with this show so far. I'm a little surprised. All right. Women's World Championship match. Rhea Ripley defeated Liv Morgan by disqualification. Dominic Mysterio was suspended above the ring in a shock cage. Um, this was the return of Raquel Gonzalez, which is fantastic to see Sheezel again. I'm
Yes.
glad that she's, back. Dominic Mysterio took one of the gnarliest bumps. Not even a bump, just like falling out of the cage, and like he could have literally like broke his leg. Um,
Oh yeah, easily.
which was like a wow moment, definitely an oh my god moment. Um, Solid match from both goals, but it doesn't change the fact that the the ending of this match was botched as fuck. The referee did a very, very bad job of not looking where he's supposed to look, and it destroyed the whole match. And it definitely deflated a lot of people's enthusiasm of it, which it rightfully should have. From what I heard, this people said that this was the worst match on the card. Not just because of the bots, because a lot of people were like legitimately pissed that Rhea didn't win. Which I could say, well, that's how you're supposed to feel about the match. But technically, she did win because it was by disqualification. So, you know, a lot of clusterfuckery in the last like 2 minutes of this match. No, Kaliko?
Yeah, I mean, I will say this though, their chemistry is really good in the ring. Like the contrast of styles between the two is you can just tell. And I like that. I like that it's going to continue. Um Dominic, man, I thought he broke an ankle
Oh yeah.
because he was just dangling, and then he took the fucking shots because Rhea was laying them on him. I mean, I felt bad. It felt like when Seth gave him that break-in shots, like shit, man. Uh, but with that being said, yeah, the ending was left to be more desired. But that doesn't. I don't think that would take away from the chemistry that the girls had, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't. I'm the person that don't let that rain on the parade because that can happen to anybody. Everyone has an off night. So I give them the mulligan, the benefit of the doubt, and
Well, it wasn't the goal's fault in this match. It
I'm
was
not
the
saying.
referee.
I'm talking about the ref
The
too. I'm talking
referee's
about the
fault.
ref. I'm talking about the ref. That's who I give him the benefit of the doubt, man. You gotta, we all fall short.
Not as short as Dominic Mysterio in the shark cage, but
I mean, he better be glad he fell short because
yeah.
woo, like
But yeah,
shit.
I think it was a great way to extend Liv Morgan and Rhea Ripley because if Liv just won, clean outright, then what do you do with Rhea? I mean, she can't necessarily go for the title again. You do have to change it up somewhat. But
Yes,
putting Raquel in there, it's a new dynamic. It's a roadblock for Rhea. It's a detour for Rhea to go down that extends the rivalry, and it also makes sense because Raquel was in the same position that Liv Morgan was in when she got injured.
Yep.
There was that animosity and that hatred for Rhea Ripley. Um, I don't think Rhea had anything to do with her injury, them writing her off TV, but it doesn't change the fact that, that history wasn't already there, because it 100%
Exactly.
was. So it definitely helps the the continuation of both rivalries, and it makes Raquel a bigger profile star because obviously she's wrestling the biggest women's star that they have in Rhea Ripley.
This is where we call it your past coming back to haunt you.
Right.
The chickens coming home to roost.
Like 5 months ago, Raquel would have been the face in this, but now she's the heel. It's just so interesting how it changes so quickly.
Yeah. And it all makes sense. And this is what I'm talking about. Like they're doing good on their callbacks. I will say that.
How many stars do you give this one?
The botch killed it, but it was still a solid match. Me personally, the chemistry between the girls, I gave it a 3. Just because they had the chemistry. Dom played his part well to me. The botch kind of threw it off, but I don't let the ref fuck up what happened between the wrestlers.
Right. No, I think a 3 is a solid score for him. It would have been a lot higher if the botch didn't happen, but I digress. Still solid. It still served the purpose that it was supposed to serve, and that's what matters the most in the end, I suppose.
Exactly.
Meltzer gave this 2.5.
You almost got there.
2 3/4.
Nope.
Dream 3/4? No.
He gave it a flat 2.
Huh. Okay. Right.
Flat 2.
Uncle Dave is freaking me out with these. He's just keeping me guessing this time around. Maybe he's just more predictable with AEW matches.
Yeah, because he gave him 10 stars.
Yeah. And that brings us to the main event. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns defeated the Bloodline Solo, Coca-Cola, and Jacob Fuck You. It was a solid tag team match for sure. Obviously everybody was super hyped and invested in it. That didn't hurt it. I could make the argument that the wrong person won in this match, but when are you going to tell Roman Reigns that he can't win a match? Also, so I digress in that part, but what say you, Kaliko?
It's a good match. I will say that. I still thought Punk and them should have made it.
Oh, but that's yeah, that doesn't need to be said. we know.
I mean, everything that I tell you, everything that I did was in comparison to that. So, from a story perspective, yes, that match did what it was supposed to do. It got everybody hooked. 2 Georgia boys got the win. Fatu looking like, Mr. Fatu that he is. Solo being the dude that ain't the dude. He played his part well, I will say that. And of course, Jimmy returning like I kind of figured he would.
Huge pop.
Huge pop for Jimmy.
Oh yeah, that was J level pop for Jimmy.
So it's safe to say he's not Marty Jannetty?
Oh no, he's still a Jimmy Jannetty, but even Janetti got a couple of pops.
Man, stop. Anyway, great match, great main event, great storytelling. Jimmy came back. It was a good overall match, and then even the aftermath, it did its part. It, like I said, it set up what it needed to set up for what we were hoping to happen, and everything. I didn't think it was all going to happen in one night. Because we went over the, like, it's funny, our review, we were like, what if The Rock comes back? And I was like, well, The Rock's coming back. It's just a matter, he's not going to come back and touch anybody, because I think he's just going to come back and be like, what the fuck is going on here? He sounded like Ronald Isley in that well, I don't know. Have you ever, you know who Ronald Isley is, right?
I think
No,
so.
you do not know who Ronald Isley is. Anyways, so there's this song called Contagious, and he, it's about, you know, he getting cheated on, and he creeps into the house and he opens this door, and that's The Rock coming in the door, and he's going, what the hell is going on between the sheets in my home? That is what The Rock is doing right now, because he's looking at Roman like, what the fuck is going on? And Roman's just looking like, and you know what? It made sense in the sense that Roman, when Roman was leaving, Jimmy was like, you a man of your word. We got to go help. And Roman was like, it's supposed to be just for one night.
Right.
So everything that I told you came to fruition, which is that it's not about Cody, it was about him being a man of his word.
Right.
And now it's a question of how much of being a man of your word is costing you in the grand scheme of things. Because now we're seeing the price being paid on Cody's behalf of being a man of his word.
Yeah.
So now we're going to see the fallout of what Roman's cost is for being a man of his word. And that is that's the perspective of it now. And because everybody just kind of want to get to The Rock and Roman and whatever. And that's perfectly fine, but you had to lay the why and the effect of it all. So two enemies becoming friends or becoming tag partners for one night caused a rift between everybody's spectrum, not just one-sided.
You know, I think that's just a sad situation that Jimmy got a bigger pop than The Rock did. You know, and on my perspective, I was more happy to see Jimmy than I was Dwayne. And it's just, you know, it just eats me up that, you know, he's probably going to be the reason that Bad Blood was so successful was because I was at the end, and because I was there, and people knew I was going to be there.
Well, if you saw what happened after the show,
right,
you would have that different opinion because he's basically holding the card in his deck. It's not like he's going, because he easily could have spoke how he felt as he was walking to his goddamn trailer, but he decided not to. So that tells you that it's coming down the pike of what he's thinking. I mean, that's just me. So in this case, he's just being the eye in the sky, if you will.
yeah,
So he's just the eye in the sky while everything else between Roman and Solo is playing out, and he's holding on to his opinion of it to drop that hammer later. And in the meantime, because how can I put it? There's an instant consequence and a delayed consequence. Roman is going to get the delayed consequence because The Rock ain't going to say shit till he's ready to say it.
right.
Cody's getting the instant consequence because Kevin Owens is in that ass right now. And that's by design. Because what you want is, because if The Rock says what he says, it turns off you tuning into what Cody and Kevin is doing.
Yeah.
So the Cody and Kevin thing is happening right now to keep you, oh shit, this is the first fallout from that happening. And then that other shoe drops and you're like, oh shit, now that's happening. So yeah, I think it's beautiful though. To me, that's beautiful. That's beautiful storytelling. Beautiful storytelling.
There was a video that came out after when The Rock came out, from the Bloodline's perspective, Solo, because they were in the crowd, and Solo turns to somebody and he says it's all a part of the plan, kind of insinuating that The Rock is on their side of things. You know what I mean?
That would make sense because The Rock still got unfinished business with Cody.
I mean, it seems like everybody has unfinished business with Cody at this point.
And that's the point. I mean, of course, you know why The Rock has unfinished business with Cody, because of all the shit that happened up the Mania. But now Kevin's in it because of the fact that he feels betrayed by his friend because he chose to go with Roman, and God knows how much investment Roman or KO tried to do with getting rid of Roman.
Right.
So this is the 360 degree storytelling that I craved in wrestling for the longest fucking time. And it is fucking there, and it is fucking awesome.
But that brings us to the last part, you mentioned, and we've talked about for some time. Kevin Owens attacked Cody Rhodes in the parking lot, which wasn't actually a part of the show. It was revealed later in the night via fan video taken after everybody was leaving the stadium. How do you feel about them doing an angle after a paid preview like that? I think it's actually pretty cool, honestly, because it kind of tells you, the show isn't over when it's over. Things can happen afterwards. And you immediately have that setup of Cody Rhodes and Kevin Owens, on Friday for SmackDown. So you don't have to wait to do it. It's there. You know what I mean?
Well, it keeps you tuned. It's designed to keep you on your toes. Because when that happened, everybody's like, "Oh shit, what the fuck is gonna happen Friday?" And then guess what happened Friday? Kevin Owens got banned from the arena.
Right.
So everybody's like, "Oh shit, I ain't get to fucking watch what happens on Friday." But then guess what happens? Kevin Owens sneaks in. And then Kevin Owens sneaks in and everybody's booing him. And he gets to go, well, everybody is sitting up here wondering why I did. And they cut his mic on purpose, but they got the key point that I've been saying for the longest out, which was he's basically said, everyone was yelling that I betrayed Cody, when in actuality, Cody betrayed me. And that is exactly what I was. And once he got that nugget out, and once he got to try to explain it, Mike got cut off.
Right.
So now, and then he goes to Corey's bike, takes the headset, and starts trying to explain it, but Cody comes out. So now it gets you hooked into why he did it. So now it gets your brain going. He never got to say why he did it. even though I may hate him for it, but I never got his side of the story.
Right.
And to a guy like me, that matters. I'm like, holy shit, I want to hear what the fuck he got to say.
Oh, yeah.
Because Kevin never does anything without reason.
That, yes. 100%.
Like, he may be a lot of things, but god damn it, he has a reason for everything he does.
How many stars do you give this one?
Now, are we including the post parking lot beatdown or just the match itself?
I feel like just the match.
Okay, all right. The match itself was probably a 4. I would say the match is a 4. The crowd was super into it. However, we knew the outcome was predictable. Jimmy coming back played a huge part, but a 4.
I agree. I think 4 is a solid number for it, for sure. Alright, Meltzer.
Yeah, what would Meltzer rate it?
3.5.
Higher.
Good.
Surprisingly higher.
4?
Surprisingly higher.
4.5.
4.25.
Okay. I see you, Meltzer. Interesting.
See, Meltzer, we give you benefit of the doubt over here a little bit. A little bit.
A
not
little
a lot.
bit. Wait until Wrestle Dream next week.
Oh gosh. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, we still have to review that. Preview that.
Oh, do we?
Yeah.
I mean, I see the card.
Yeah. We'll get into that in a minute. This show, particular. Thumbs up, thumbs down, thumbs in the middle.
Oh, it was thumbs up because it did what it's supposed to do. I told everybody Bash in Berlin was the B show to get to this show so they could get to Survivor Series, and then the goddamn overseas show in Saudi Arabia is going to be another B show to get to Survivor Series in Vancouver so they can show their ass. It's coming.
Yeah. I give it 2 thumbs up. All around a good show.
Match of the night was Punk McIntyre. Yeah, I mean, just crown their asses already.
That will conclude our coverage of Bad Blood. And we are wrestling with AEW Wrestle Dream.
Hooray.
It's later today. Takes place in Tacoma, Washington, at the Tacoma Dome. It's a Tony Khan's wet dream, which is what it should be called, if I'm in all honesty. That being said, I was looking at this card, and obviously last week we said there was 7 matches confirmed. We're now at 11. And looking at this card, this is one of the best AEW cards I've ever seen. And you know why, Krika? Because there is so much I can fast forward with not actually giving a shit about.
Oh my god.
I don't have to feel bad about not watching it.
That bad, huh?
I mean, there is literally like 4 matches that have no implications whatsoever. So
I mean, there's only really one match with one big implication, but
I mean, there's 4 matches that have no titles or grudges, if I'm being honest. It's just kind of matches that are on the card. Like, this is a glorified Dynamite show, if I'm being completely honest. But what say you? How do you feel about the card?
It's okay. It's okay. Although Private Party got off the fucking milk cart, I've been telling y'all, I've been trying to figure out what the fuck they were for like 3 years. Shit.
Well, let's get into it. The first match, for the Raw World Television Championship, Alanis Morissette Jr. versus Brian Cage match. Who wins, Kaliko?
Nobody. I'm gonna assume Atlantis, but I also feel I don't know. I'll go Brian Cage. Brian Cage.
I'll go with
He's due.
I'll go with Atlantis. When has Brian Cage ever won a match?
Well, you'll see my method to my madness.
Sure. Singles match for the Raw World Championship. Mark Briscoe versus NDA Jericho with Big Bill and Bandit Keith. Who wins, Kaliko?
See, this is why I think if Brian Cage wins, Jericho loses. If Jericho wins, Brian Cage loses.
You think there's any continuity with Brian Cage and Chris Jericho?
Well, because the problem is that I think people are going to want Jericho to go away, and I feel like a big FU to them is for him to be the Ring of Honor World Champion.
But he's already been the Ring of Honor champion.
But not with this much heat.
Yeah, I mean, last time he was Ring of Honor champion, people were like low key okay with it at the time.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people were just genuinely upset in the first place because Jericho brought up Jay Briscoe to Mark. Is it low key bad taste? Kinda, sorta, but if you would have asked Jay if he would have been alright being used in a storyline this way, he'd probably say he was fine with it. I mean, a lot of wrestlers would have.
I mean, yeah, Paul Bearer was brought up with the Taker scheme.
He was literally his ashes were in the urn.
Yes, that's what I'm trying to be like. It's part of the game.
Yeah, so I get some people feel like it's bad taste, but from the wrestler's perspective is I'm getting used and I'm not even here. I'm still a part of it. So it doesn't necessarily bother me that much.
It's one way to continue the legacy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's something
We're both an ingredient.
It's something for Jericho to do, but I think Mark Briscoe will win this one. Then Chris Jericho will win the second one, and then Mark Briscoe will win the third one. Because that seems to be the formula for Chris Jericho rivalries at this point.
I think Jericho wins the first one because I think Wrestle Dream's about to be a big fuck you fest, but that's just me.
You know, usually I say like there has to be some continuity because, you know, if this person loses, they need to give this person a win to make the people happy. But then you realize that this is AEW and nothing they do makes sense. So you kind of have to, you know, do a line of coke before you preview one of these matches just to get into a Tony Khan type perspective.
I wouldn't say a line of coke, but I mean, just get used to being the unexpected. Expect the unexpected. Sure. Or know the unknown or some shit like that.
Next match, it's just a special singles match. Debbie Allen versus Brody Burger King. Who wins, Kaliko?
Considering it's by the mountains and Darby was supposed to climb a mountain, maybe Darby?
I mean, he is from Washington, so it would make sense if he won.
I mean, it's a gang of motherfuckers from Washington, but then again, wrestling, I don't know. Well, yeah, he's got to win because,
Yeah.
Because I mean, we'll probably be in agreement with the main event, but we'll get there.
Yeah. We have the AEW TNT Championship match: Jack Perry the Platypus versus Katsuri Shibata Bread. Who wins, Kaliko?
Perry the Platypus.
You can call him H&P. AEW International Championship: Will Ospreay versus Rick Lachey versus Kolkutska Take Shitta. You have an Ospreay and a Take a Shit in the same match. And that's probably what I'll be doing during this match, but what say you, Kaliko?
I mean, why is he in the match again? Why is Take Shitta in the match?
I mean, you're actually right. I mean, Ospreay is and Take Shitta is part of the same group, aren't they?
I mean, I would think so. So either Take Shitta's taking a pin to Ricochet, or he's pinning Ospreay. I can't see which one's gonna happen. With that being said, Ospreay is the flavor of the month, and I don't expect his ass to lose anytime soon. So Ospreay.
I feel the same way. I want to say that they would give Ricochet something, but then I remember he's Ricochet, and nobody wants to give him anything. So.
Or you remember AEW always gives WWE guys that title match, and they get their ass beat the first 38 times.
Yep. Then we have AEW World Tag Team Championship match. The middle-aged fucks, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson. They take on Prophet Party without that Hardy. Harley and Quinn. Who wins, Kaliko?
Well, first of all, as a person who's been trying to look for Private Party for like the last 3 years, it is glad to see their ass pop out.
5 years.
You know what I'm saying? I've been an advocate for like, where the fuck are they? Where the fuck is, remember Private Party? But now I guess they're back just to get their ass beat by the Young Bucks. Because welcome back. You came back at the wrong goddamn time.
Do you remember when the Young Bucks did Being the Elite, and they had Flip Gordon, and Flip Gordon would get beat up by people, and they would say, "Welcome to Ring of Honor." This is the Welcome to Ring of Honor moment for Private Party.
Oh, wow.
I mean, Flip Gordon,
oh,
what
wow.
the fuck is he?
I mean, you know what? He's officially on the list. Because now that Private Party popped their ass out of nowhere, and I'm glad that they're alive. Let's add Flip Gordon is now at the top of this where the fuck is he list.
AEW, Brian Green's Young Bucks win.
Yes.
AEW Women's World Championship match: Mariah Carey versus Willow Nightingale. Who wins?
Nice knowing you, Willow. Mariah beating that ass.
Yeah. I mean, it would have been made more sense for Chris Statlander to wrestle Mariah May, considering she won the street fight last month. But you know, continuity in AEW. They do not mix.
But Willow beat her for the #1 contender match. See, do you see what the fuck I be talking about?
Yeah.
Can't make this shit up.
Yep.
You can't make.
You have a blow-off match in Chicago, and then you just go turn around and do it right over again on a random Dynamite that nobody.
And then do a random #1 contender match in which Willow gets the win. Yeah. There you go.
Pornstache Page versus Jay White. Who wins, Kaliko?
I didn't know that this was a thing.
Apparently.
Neither.
So, spontaneous combustion.
I mean, the ring implodes, and before they get in the ring, no contest.
I would be heavily in favor of that, but I don't think it's actually going to happen.
I mean, the thing is that this match is like one of those things where I personally think both needs to win and neither can afford to lose, but that's just me.
Well, I mean, what is...
Because unless Swerve is coming back to get at Paige, which...
Oh, God, no. Please, God, no.
But the thing is, Swerve is... You forget, he's got his own little card where it says, Swerve returns.
Yeah.
He's from Washington. You think his ass ain't gonna show up?
Right, but we're assuming that that's to start a program against Bobby Lashley.
At this point, God knows what the fuck they're doing.
I mean,
Maybe he comes back to turn on Prince Nana. I don't know.
That would suck.
It would.
If Jay White's just like returned, like he hasn't been anywhere for quite some time. So what does Paige really have to gain by beating Jay White? And if Jay White wins, well, he really hasn't done anything since I think he was injured. So, I mean, yeah, he beat Paige, but where is Paige right now in storyline?
The scheme of things.
Yeah, the scheme of things. I mean, are we expecting a Hangman versus Bryan Danielson match somewhere in the future for the championship? I don't think we were.
Nah, because they would have said it would. Because you forget they do these things called title eliminators.
Yeah. Darby was supposed to get a title match against Bryan, but that didn't happen.
Well, because what's his face beat him for it?
Moxley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Moxley basically pulled an edge on Mr. Kennedy type shit.
Yeah. I'm gonna flip a coin here and just say Jay White.
And I'll flip the coin and go Paige, just to be fucking devil advocate. There you go.
There you go. Alright. We got the M&M collection, Mansoor and Manson Madden.
They're on the card?
Versus the Acclaim, Anthony Bell movement and Max Castroplaster.
Oh God, they're on the card?
Yep, that's a match on this card.
I did not see that on the card.
Wikipedia
Okay.
would not lie to me.
I mean, Wikipedia would lie all the time. Anyway, but all right. Well, I guess they're on the card. The Acclaimed. No, I'm gonna go with the Mansoor people. They're gonna upset them.
That's what I was gonna say. I feel like they wouldn't have put these jobbers on the card if they didn't want to do something with them. And obviously, you know, the Acclaimed got the short end of the stick when they drew them.
I mean, they could have put Private Party on the fucking card. Oh, they already did. Ding, ding, ding. Ding, 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 ding.
You can't pull that one. But seriously, like it's MXM collection. Like it looks like something not on a wrestling show, but something you would find on an 18+ site, if I'm being honest. The MXM collection.
I mean, MXM, I mean, that's almost kind of like, but I see what they're doing, because MXM kind of like the LVs, like Louis Vuitton. It's a fashion thing. I get what they're doing with it. It's just that, why?
Yeah. and no,
I mean,
and don't.
hey, MXM get paid. MXM get paid. I'm not gonna tell you. I'm never gonna be against a wrestler getting paid. Hey, bro, get paid. I'm just trying to figure out. You're kind of in the Danhausen house with me. Why are you? Why? Why?
But
I don't get it.
Danhausen sold a lot of merchandise. So, yeah. I don't know what Mansoor and Madden are doing.
Hey, maybe we get a method to their madness on Saturday at Wrestle Dream and somewhere in Washington near the mountains. There you go.
Tacoma. All right.
Tacoma, Washington, near the mountains.
2 out of 3 falls match. Hologram versus Beast Mortos. Because this was a match we never knew, we never wanted.
I feel like Beast would beat him 2-0, but the way that they've been pushing Hologram, it'd be 2-1 Hologram.
I'm going to go on the lines of spontaneous combustion. Like, I literally could not give less of a shit about Hologram versus Beat Mortos.
Okay. But I thought you liked Beast Mortos.
I like Roast Beast, but not Beast Mortos.
Oh, come on. Alright.
What? And this is gonna maybe go 45 minutes, and I'm not exaggerating about that. A 2 out of 3 falls match, each fall's gonna be 15 minutes each.
I think each fall will be 5 minutes each. Because it's going to take about 45 minutes for Daniel Bryan just to get to the ring.
Very true. But, I mean, AEW's never been shy about going way over what they should on paid previews. So, you never know.
But that don't mean Bleacher Reporter cut that bitch off at 8. Like they will cut that hoe off. Don't even think twice.
Well, we will see about that.
Stay tuned to find out.
Then, we have, I'll go with Hologram. I don't fucking care, but Hologram, so.
Hologram gonna win. They've been pushing his ass like the Mexican Naomi.
Damn. Alright, then we have the AEW World Championship match. Don't call me Bryan Danielson, versus Neo Noxley Moxicillin with Marina You Should Feel. Who wins? Kaliko?
I don't buy Shafir as China, but I still think Moxley's gonna win because Daniel's out here wrestling with, he's a one-legged man in an ass-kicking contest, and that's literally. So yeah, Moxley.
I'll tell you this. Jon Moxley better win this match. Because if Daniel Bryan is going to be continuing down this road, he's going to end up in a wheelchair. And he needs to get out of wrestling. He needs to get that surgery, and he needs to be with his family. And Moxley can pick up the pieces, get the title. Maybe he'll do something with it. He probably won't. I
think he is. He's trying to do the whole story angle, like no one owns anything thing. I don't know.
Yeah, he's a neo-Nazi. That's literally his gimmick now.
He's neo-Nazi Moxley?
Neo-Noxley Moxley. Yep.
Oh, God. I cannot. I can't today. Well, yeah, he's going to have to. I mean, yeah, he's got to win. But, I mean, he'll win. Well, he'll be the first 3-time champion?
I think so. He might have held it 4 times at this time.
Really?
Possibly?
I know twice for sure, but I don't remember that third reign.
I feel like
You know what? You might be right. No.
I feel like there was
Oh
one.
gosh, I'm trying to remember.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, here we go. Yeah, world champion 3 times. AEW.
Damn, this will be his 4th reign?
Yeah. See if there's...
Holy shit. Talk about necessity being the mother of invention. Shit goes down, give Mike Lee the title. Because I remember one of them was the Punk shit, so I remember that. And then
Okay, yeah. So he was...
got the title with the Punk shit, and he's going to get the title with the Bryan shit. And now
Okay, so...
half of his reigns came from other people fucking dying or fucking...
Yeah.
Half of his reign came from somebody getting fucked up or out here fighting motherfuckers backstage.
So, Jon Moxley was the 2nd ever AEW champion, beating Chris Jericho.
Correct. Jericho.
Then he was the interim AEW champion until he legitimized it by beating CM Punk.
Correct.
And then CM Punk beat him at All Out. But then CM Punk got suspended. He got fired. No, he got suspended. He got suspended and stripped of the championship. And they held a tournament that Jon Moxley won.
See?
So 3 times.
So 3 of his reigns is coming from at CM Punk or Daniel Bryan's expense. Man, that dude, the thread is literally the through line.
Oh, yeah. I can't argue with that.
I mean, you give it to him. You gotta give it to him.
I mean, you could say that he's there. You can't say much more.
I mean, the best ability is availability.
Unfortunately, yes, you are correct.
I mean, it worked for him. 4-time champ, baby.
Yep. Alright.
Only 4-time champ.
Yeah, only 4 times. And that's assuming he actually wins on, well, later today.
I mean, but all the reigns are probably equal to Swerve's 1 reign. So there you go.
I mean, you could times Swerve's reign by 2, and it still wouldn't be enough of Moxley's 1 reign.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Yeah.
It seems like that belt is not. I mean, other than MJF having it for damn near a year, it's.
Yeah. Well, and he's not coming back for a little while himself, so we'll see what happens to the belt after this. Alright, that will conclude our coverage of AEW Wrestle Dream. Thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment on our YouTube Castbox. This is sponsored by Rogue Energy and Paramount Coffee. Join us next Saturday as we do a review of AEW Wrestle Dream. God help us all. And join us this Tuesday as we interview Johnny McNettles. And this Wednesday as we interview Dylan Broda. And follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram for information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, and so much more. Follow me personally at JamesShane993. Where can we find Kaliko?
I'm off Monday, so now I can binge watch the Vince series at I Am Kaliko.
Yay!
Yay!
For Kaliko Yachts and Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling with Entertainment.
See, I would say Happy Columbus Day, but in California it's Indigenous People Day, but I don't know if that actually took nationwide. So with that being said, Happy Columbus Indigenous People Day.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show. Support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.